It's only sport with Martin Devlin on the platform. Brought to you by One New Zealand. Let's get connected.
Yeah, I've got to ask you about it, mate. He is online, our good friend from Australia, Triple M Breakfast host out of Brisbane. Massively successful, that show. It's a show that targets men, that talks about boys' things. Santa's pig! You can imagine. You couldn't have that in New Zealand, could you? But they love it in Brisbane. Former Wallaby fullback, played against the All Blacks a number of times. Greg Martin, 122. Marto, before we even start, mate, I mean, you haven't had, to play the dating game for a long time. Producer Lachlan is kind of in that. Aren't you glad you don't?
Oh, she's very confusing and tricky, mate, especially when a lot of it's done digitally and the photos don't look like the person who you thought you were going to date. Is that the angle or not? Well,
it's also the new generations have lost the art of conversation. They can't just walk into a boozer like, our method was go to the pub, get as absolutely shite-faced as possible, hopefully make eye contact. If not, do something clumsy like bump into them, spill a drink, and then when the time was right, grab and pash. That was pretty much it, wasn't it?
Can I give you Mr. and Mrs. Marto's technique?
Go on.
She'd been to the races. I'd been to a 21st, mate's 21st. Yes, it was late. She'd been to the races and she'd won heaps of money. I came out of the toilet and she came at me with a rum and coke. And we had a shag first night and we've been together ever since. It's one of my love stories.
See, this is it. Just start simplifying. I tell you what, by the time they go through the Instagram and your TikTok, and then and then you've got to look at all the other photos. Oh, I don't like that photo because you're with that girl, mate, and then you exchange messages, and then you've got to try and decipher the text, and then there's emojis added to it. Oh, geez, mate, it just minefield.
Yeah, keep it simple, and I've based 32 years of marriage on that. It's been wonderful.
Bledisloe Cup test. After 15 minutes, you were nude. You gathered some clothing off the floor in the next 40 or so minutes. By the end of it, you were spruced up and we were hanging on for dear life.
Oh, that's your angle? We were woeful and you became woeful. We dragged you down to our level, I think. God, how do you describe it? You guys made so many errors and you got so many tries disallowed. And I've seen this script before. Yes, we got close to you, but you have a look at the last, let's say even the last 10 times where we've gone close or even beaten you in the first letter, so you come back and give us a paddy whacking in the next week. Because you'll go, is everyone happy with themselves? No, we're not. Whereas the Wallabies, that's as good as we get, mate. Whereas you guys have got a lot more upside. But saying that, we could have bloody beaten you somehow.
Yeah, I know. Crazy, yeah. It just, look, that would have been the most remarkable win if you had. And also, I can't imagine what would have been the reaction back here if we had have actually lost that game. But you're right, there were one or two try opportunities. If we'd buried those, it would have been game over probably with a good half an hour to go.
But it didn't look like Test rugby at times. Everyone's thinking you've got to score 80 points in a Test match. There wasn't a lot of grinding, was there? It wasn't old school Test rugby. Everyone thinks you've just got to keep tossing the ball, and that's where the errors come in. So if one side decides to knuckle down, actually the defence from both teams was woeful. No wonder South Africa is the best team because they don't crack under easy pressure like our two teams do at the moment. So, mate, I'm not looking forward to Wellington. I just can feel a hit back come from you blokes.
Yeah, we ain't got a great track record there, mate. We haven't won since 2018 in Wellington. And you've beaten us in Wellington before. You actually beat us in 1990, didn't you?
1990, where my old mate Tim Oren, after he beat you that day, he jumped into the harbour, fool that he is. I do remember. Wellington's good for us. I forgot that bit.
Yeah, you actually did a double on us that weekend too, because you did the league on us that as well. Look, I just wanted an All Black performance for 80 minutes because we've shown glimpses, but we just haven't been able to get it together for a full game. No Damien McKenzie, he's been dropped. And I think what you're saying before about the Super Rugby aspect and this idea that you've got to score a bonus point and things, I just want to see a controlled Test match. And I don't care whether people think it's boring. That's what Test rugby is. It's about strangling your opposition.
Thank you. It is about creating so much pressure that the opposition bursts. I don't know. Are they influenced by social media, by people going, "Oh, you are wonderful, the wide open rugby"? That ain't Test rugby. Have a look at the Springboks before they score those tries. They squeeze you like hell. So, yes, maybe. I think everyone should have learned a lot from last weekend, but I don't think our upside is as large as your upside is.
And as far as Joe Schmidt goes, does he have the free pass until when?
No, yeah, I think last weekend gave him that, mate. I know there was a bit of pressure, but we can't keep changing coaches. There's good taking the Wallabies job. Have we spoken about this before? Taking the Wallabies job is the next thing that happens. You get sacked because it's not a lot of fun. These guys are great coaches, whether it's Robbie Deans, Dave Rennie, they were good coaches. But the Australian team is such a conundrum. How do you sort it out? As I said, I don't think we have the players. You have a look at us player to player. How many would you have taken? Maybe 2 of the Wallabies you would have said, they could make the All Blacks, 2 if we're lucky. In the old days, there might have been 6 or 7, and that's when we used to win games against you. But right now, we haven't got the cattle, mate.
Greg Martin, former Wallaby fullback, a Triple M breakfast host out of Brisbane. All right. I know that you are also big supporters because you are the station that is the official supporting station of your Brisbane Lions. And it is New South Wales versus Queensland in Victoria. How good for everyone who loves their AFL outside of that state?
Well, everyone all of a sudden in Brisbane loves AFL apparently right now. And the same thing in Sydney. You've never seen so many bandwagons. We are very good at jumping on a bandwagon, especially when our beloved Lions, that's what I'm calling them now, although I didn't know most of their names until this week. I think I probably represent most people going, oh, look, we're in the grand finals. Yes, I'm from Brisbane, therefore I'm a Lions fan. It is this thing. Do you understand how big it is? It's just extraordinary. Melbourne's gone crazy, and they don't even have a team in the competition. They could have sold that stadium 100,000 out 5 to 6 times over. Guys in our office, these young blokes in our office who love their AFL, they're paying. They make no bloody money, but they're paying $2,000 return airfares plus $500 for a seat. It's people. You don't understand. It's like rugby in Wales or Springboks. It's just a religion, and people are just hanging on. So it is enormous. I'll be watching. I'll be cheering for Brisbane Lions. And could you please do that all of New Zealand?
It's Only Sport with Martin Devlin on the platform. Brought to you by One New Zealand. Let's get connected.